Hey, good morning, everybody. It's a brand new day in February, year 2025. Things have been happening rapidly. I'm telling you what, lately the news pretty much going worldwide. It's kind of been underreported considering a whole lot of other things going on. But artificial intelligence. Lately, the fine folks over in Davos think they know better than the rest of us, want to run the world. It's been a big topic of them. And it's kind of made its way over here with President Trump and some tech geeks getting together for something called Stargate. Now, I've got my reservations about artificial intelligence because, first of all, it's like this. The old proverb states, the road to hell is paved with many great intentions. And that's what we're looking at here. So that we consider this, I'm looking at AI is the, if anybody ever watched Star Trek, especially the latter versions of it. There was a bunch called the Borg Collective. What were they? Well, they were all man machines. They were humans that were turned into machines, and they were a collective. They had no soul, and all they did was conquer and turn other things into machines. That was their whole thing. We are going to be looking at that in the very near future, as it hasn't already started. So let's get down to business here. If you like what I'm talking about, please hit that like button. It is important. Helps me see if anybody's listening out there. Feel free to share this with anybody you want, church groups, friends, your enemies, your banker, whoever. And you can also subscribe, but I try to be here roughly the same time on a Saturday morning, uh, just before 9 o'clock Central Time in good old United States of America. And if you wish to get a hold of me, leave a comment. You can do it here, but by the time I read it, it's long gone. You can direct message me on any of the following platforms: Gab, Truth Social, Getter, MeWe, or Facebook. I'm no longer on X. Elon Musk free speech is not free to a lot of us. So, without further ado, let's go. Call this the coming of the man machine. And the Bible verse I'm going to start off with, found in Revelation chapter 22, verses 11 and 16. And a quote, let the wicked still act wickedly, and the filthy still be filthy. The righteous must still do right, and the holy still be holy. Outside are the dogs, the sorcerers, the unchaste, the murderers, the idol worshippers, and all who love and practice deceit. Folks, we made it. We are now at the turning point of becoming like God. We are creating our own beings from the machines. How soon will it be that the specter of God's original creation begins to mesh with the synthetic creation of man? As great author Arthur C. Clarke pointed out, can the synthesis of man and machine ever be stable? Or will the purely organic component become such a hindrance that it has to be discarded? You see, folks, God is not copied. They can clone the body, they can make exact duplicate of the body, but there's one missing element. See, ever since the dawn of time, mankind has tried to reach God or be God. That has never come close enough, except in the passage above, that the message on mankind has kept at it and getting closer as time marches on. As we see in Genesis chapter 11, the famous story of the Tower of Babel. Why did they build it? Well, let's read it and see what it says. Then they said, come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower with its top in the sky, so make a name for ourselves. Otherwise, we shall be scattered all over the earth. The Lord came down to see the city and the tower that the people had built. Then the Lord said, If now, while they are one people, have all the same language, they have started to do this, nothing they presume to do will be out of their reach. All right, then the Lord scattered us, and we're all over the world, and we all speak different languages. Now that we are on the verge of creating that false society based upon a lie that we can be gods. Ever since God kicked Adam and Eve out of the Garden of Eden, chapter 3, we've all been trying to get back to that point of knowing God, being God, trying to reach Him, except for the ways He's prescribed. See, AI is being heavily promoted as a boon to society to relieve loneliness, used in diagnosing medical procedures or settling civil or criminal cases in court. This is all nice, and I'd be happy to have it if it stayed there. It's not going to stay there. Right now, this is the escapism plan. This is the nice thing to draw. This is part of the grift. It's going to draw in all these goodies here that are happening. But okay, let's go with it. What can possibly go wrong with something like that? Well, for openers, AI can only regulate what is fed into it. It can figure out mathematics because there are no human variables in the equations. What happens when human variables are involved? Does this then alter the correct determinations, or will it give a deadly wrong answer? What happens when and if creative beings turn on us? The human variable we call a soul cannot be copied, and when one is created without a soul, it is nothing more than a machine. Remember, I asked that we can create everything about a human being except the soul. That's it. You can't create it. And as Brian Herbert of the Butlerian Jihad would write, with few ambitions, most people allowed efficient machines to perform everyday tasks for them. Gradually, humans cease to think or dream or truly live. We see that today, especially with young people. They can't do anything while the machine in their hands. They are attached to that machine. It started off in school. Teachers started allowing kids with calculators to come in and take math tests. Okay, they can put a stipulation up, but you put in all the right components. You're supposed to come up with the right answers. Then come the age of the internet. We uh, we can now look up anything we really want on the internet. Uh, with right, you could read news, you could read uplifting articles, or you can download pornography, download whatever you want. But either way, we're getting away from human contact. In fact, young people are growing up with these machines in their hand. They can't talk to each other. They don't know how to. They don't know how to go out and get dirty and play. Then they wonder why they can't adapt to the real world when they're stuck in it. And then they become susceptible to something like this. You see, God's going to be at war with us in the very near future, and this is going to be part of the reason why. We're going to have a whole bunch of people known as the collective that are basically man machines. Elon Musk, even though this has kind of been buried in the last year or two, has started implementing chips into human beings' brains so they can function past physical disabilities. Oh, well, if they can function past physical disabilities, what's to say they can't alter mental abilities, alter ways of thinking, programming people to do things they normally would not do? Something to think about. In fact, there's going to be a whole army of those called the collective. I know a lot of people have heard that in politics. What is the collective? The collective is a bunch of people that are brainwashed into thinking all the same. It's called groupthink, in other words. You all think the same thing. There's no dissent. Nothing. You all agree the thing. It's like Democrats in politics. They all vote the same way. You'll never see any dissent. That's the collective. See, when the time comes for Armageddon to happen, I wonder how many demonic warmongers will be human. Let us give thought to that possibility. As in the Tower of Babel, mankind tried to reach God by building a massive tower. Now, they are basically telling God that He is not needed and that human beings are replaced with AI drones. All the ones joined up with the machines will end up in a fiery lake that awaits them. Trying to be God is a loser, and at the end of the age, it'll all come out. As the author Eliezer Yudkowsky would write, by far the greatest danger of artificial intelligence is that people conclude too early that they understand it. We do not understand it. We're not even going to begin to understand it. The time is at hand where we are witnessing the rise of the transmutation of humans into something totally ungodly before our eyes. We have been getting gaslighted for years now to get the world ready for the rise of the unhuman army. Many of us sat back and allowed this to happen and not think much of it until it is slapping us in our faces and are mocking our faith. What are the ways this is happening to us and mainly children of ages? But see, it's like this. As St. Peter wrote in his second letter, he wrote, and I quote, but these people, like irrational animals born by nature for capture and destruction, revile things that they do not understand, and in their destruction they will also be destroyed. Suffering wrong is payment for wrongdoing. Thinking daytime is revelry a delight, they are stains and defilements as they revel in their deceits while carousing with you. Their eyes are full of adultery and insatiable for sin. They seduce unstable people, and their hearts are trained in greed, accursed children. You see, the media is preparing our minds for ways that for the one world government to be transforming human behavior into one of from normal traditional values into customs of the abnormal. Non-stop movies and TV shows about zombies or the Walking Dead in positive lights to promote cannibalism. Movies about hunting fellow humans for sport and food sources giving a shade of acceptability. For young adults to make cool, vampire movies are to incubate the mind where it's romantic for a bloodsucker from the dead to enjoy a relationship with a normal human being. Hey, look, am I getting through to you yet? For most of you, y'all have a version, King James version of the Bible. It calls these type of people, like-minded characters, brute beasts. In other words, they're unnatural, uncaring, and they're unhuman. Now, we got to pay attention. You got to put down the games now and then, and stick your nose into see what's going on in the world. The World Economic Forum. And this is going back a couple of years. This ungodly outfit is working its way through pandemics, vaccines, and food shortages to transform people into bug eating zombies, unleashing a flu and calling it a pandemic, concocting experimental vaccines along with the boosters, masking, forced confinements, all to warp the mind into involuntary servitude and slavery. See, food shortages are designed to manipulate the population to start eating bugs for proteins instead of meat because meat will eventually become scarce through fear and decree. All this added to transmutate a world population into an unwilling dupes to revolt against the people of faith. Another way they're doing this is the gender bender hoax. You know, they're not able to kill the baby in the womb. By God, they're going after them as young kids. So now we got the gender bender hoax. While it's a smattering of the population, Some do have gender dysphoria. That accounts for less than 1%. Remember that 1%. The rest takes place in the transmutation stations we call the public schools. It is completely normal for girls to and boys to for girls to play sports and boys to get into home economics. When I lived in Louisiana, it was not unusual for boys and teenagers to learn how to cook. Some of the greatest chefs in the world are men. Think about that. And yes, they're straight guys. They like women. And there are some women that like to play sports and are good at it and make a good living at it. So, hey, let's be cool with that. Now, we got to remember that generally, once puberty sets in, the girls get more into female things than the boys. Well, they get more into guy things. Telling little Susie that she's in the wrong body because she likes sports at the age of 8 is a nasty lie told by people that have no business being near children, let alone teaching them. Yeah, they're perverts, and I'll call them that. The whole purpose is to transform children into eunuchs, many who wish they never agreed to be carved up like a turkey on Thanksgiving. See, the dirty secret is that many that have started down that road to reassignment surgeries begin to regret, have second thoughts in their bodies, and yeah, I don't think so, and turn back. Some that have gone through the whole change realize that it is not the euphoria and the utopia that they hoped it would be, and a lot of them commit suicide. That's sad. Where are those teachers, doctors, and surgeons for the families of those whose lives they ruined? I want to know, where are the parents who ruined their children? All because it's wanted to be cool and culturally in. I'm sorry, you don't deserve to be parents. What are we going to do? Well, guess what? It's the late James Brown saying, get up, get into it, and get involved. I say to those great words that go by here, if your kids are not at stake there's a family that needs help with theirs. First of all, we got to pray, and we got to pray a lot. Second of all, we got to find our groove and make a stand. Hey, look, there's all sorts of places for everybody to get involved, even on a part-time basis. We need you, need everybody. And third, you got to get the community involved. You know, it's fine to everybody to get up and do their thing and get up and do their thing together, but man, you got to get everybody involved. The whole city gets involved. Once the whole city gets involved, then the county gets involved. Once the counties get involved, then the state gets involved, and they cannot ignore you. As I close out, the old proverb says, "The road to hell is paved with good intentions." Right now, AI is giving you good intentions. Soon, those intentions are not going to be all that good and going to be deadly. So, folks, as St. Matthew once said, keep your lamps trimmed and burning because the new beginning is near. Be ready for it. Hey, look, folks, I know it's kind of a weird one, but AI is going to be strange. It's going to be telling, and it's going to be awfully, awfully tough to resist it. So pray about it before you think about getting into it. Hey, look, this is Brother Mark. I hope your weekend is good. Make it great, and y'all have yourself a great time because Jesus is coming back.